Hello, Great Talks. Today we're looking at accounting paper 2 that was written in September 2024 in Mpumalanga. And then we just going to look at question 1, specifically the reconciliation part, and we'll just do the VAT on some other time. Now, with bank reconciliation, we're given the information that relates to Shooter stores for July 2024. So we know that the business uses the official bank statement, which is received on the 25th of every month. So that's a key thing. So we need to be careful of the transactions after the 25th. Okay. So transactions after the 25th of every month, so that we know that we need to include them in our transactions, whether it's the CPJ or the PRS. Okay. So the first required says show the entries that must be recorded in the C or the cash journals by completing the table provided in the answer book. And then 1.1.2, calculate the bank account balance of the general ledger of the business. And then 1.1.3 says prepare the bank reconciliation statement on the 31st of July 2024. Now the last one says explain two problems relating to deposits, quote evidence, explain two strategies to prevent this in future. Okay, so we're given information A. The following information appears on the bank reconciliation statement on the 30th of June 2024. So just a little piece of advice: whenever you're doing bank reconciliations, it's much better to actually do everything at once, like do everything simultaneously, so that you save yourself some time and you're then able to work efficiently. Because whenever you are able to complete all the pieces of this puzzle, then you'll be able to work within less time as possible. Okay, so you can also save yourself some time for the next questions in the paper. Right, now the first thing that we need to calculate here is our balances per the bank account. Right, so we're given the starting balances for the CRJ and the CPJ. And then let's just quickly look at these transactions from information A. So now we are given an unfavorable balance on the bank statement, which is 71,200. Now, if you do not understand what this statement on information A says, it says the following information appears on the bank reconciliation statement on the 30th of June. So this was the bank reconciliation statement from the previous month, right? So whatever is here, we were telling the bank to fix it. Okay, that's our starting point. We were telling the bank to say, no, you made these mistakes, so now you need to fix them in the next bank statement. So now that it is July, we want to see if the bank ably was able to correct these errors that we are seeing here. Okay, so now let's look at the information so that we can be able to detect if the bank was able to fix those errors, or we might have also made some errors that the bank has picked up and will need to correct those. So the note says an investigation shows that the deposit of 12,400 dated 29 June 2024 was never deposited in the bank, right? So on our side, we would have said this is a receipt. We're putting it into our CRJ, we are receiving cash, but now the bank then comes back to us and tells us, no, this was never deposited in the bank, so the previous bookkeeper could not be found. So this person ran away with the money, and then this must be written off. And then where do we write this off? We're going to take it away from the CRJ and put it in the CPJ. We didn't necessarily pay, but now remember that when we want to decrease our receipts, we're going to make it as a payment. So we're going to decrease this entry by adding onto our CPJ. We're going to put in there 12,400. Okay, and then that's okay. Now information B says cash totals on the 31st of July 2024 before receiving the bank statement. So we know that this was 108 and 36,800 in the CPJ. Already we have seen those numbers. And then information C, we're given the extract from the June bank statement. So this is what we have received from the bank, right? So this is from the bank. Okay, and then the first Roman figure says EFT 121 to ABC stationers is correct on the bank statement. Okay, so we are seeing EFT 121 and it's 1,200. Now, when we look at what we said to the bank in the previous month on outstanding EFTs that were still yet to be paid, or we have paid but the bank never showed them, we showed this EFT as 1,200, right? But the bank then says no. Oh, we showed it as 2,100, I beg your pardon. And then the bank says no, the payment is actually 1,200. So there's a difference there between 2,100 and 1,200, right? So now we need to calculate the difference between those two numbers, and then it is 900. Now we need to account for this difference, right? So we know that we have overpaid. We have overpaid because we recorded 2,100, but the actual entry is 1,200, which should be done. Now, since we have overpaid, we're going to take the 900 and add it onto our CRJ. Remember, now we are decreasing this payment, right? So, and second Roman figure says EFT 129 appears on the wrong side of the bank statement. Okay, so if something appears on the wrong side, right, the first thing that you do is correct. Okay, let's do this. The first thing that you do is to remove the incorrect entry, right? This will net it off to 0. Then the second one, what you're doing is now correcting the entry, okay, by recording correct entry. Okay, so that's what we're going to say. We're recording the correct entry now. Right, so that is why each and every time something is appearing on the incorrect side, you're going to have to multiply that amount by 2, because there's two things that you're doing in that case. Okay, so we're looking at EFT 129. Let's look at EFT 129. Okay, there it is. So we have Happy Korea's EFT 129, and we can see that this is 2,000 on the credit side. Okay, so it's the wrong side of the bank statement. We know that the bank statement, it increases on our bank balance, so the bank statement increases on the credit side and then decreases on the debit side. This is because we are more like a creditor to the bank. So the bank owes us money. Okay, so the bank owes us money. So whenever we have money in our bank account, the bank will credit our account. So also keep that in mind. Now, we have made a payment, right? Our bank was supposed to decrease, but they actually increased our bank account by 2,000. So now what we are going to do, this is going to affect only our bank reconciliation statement, right? So this transaction affects our BRS, so we're going to look at our bank reconciliation statement. Remember, like I said, we can do them simultaneously depending on the information that we're given. So now we're going to jump onto our bank reconciliation statement. So we know that here we made the payment, so that's EFT. Okay, that's EFT 129, and this was incorrectly recorded, right? So this was supposed to be a debit of 4,000, because the 4,000 is this 2,000, right? This 2,000 multiplied by 2. Okay, then now the third one says debit order for the business insurance from secure insurers was deducted twice by the bank since there was not enough funds available in June 2024. So the payments for June and July 2024 are now up to date. Okay, so here there's no error. They actually were supposed to deduct twice because we didn't pay insurance in June. Now what's happening here is that we are then going to record this into our CPJ because it's only on our bank statement, as it was a debit order. So debit orders don't necessarily appear on our bank or our cash payments journal. So we know that we have paid 1,800 twice, and then we're going to simply add those two and get 3,600, right? And then we can also see that we had interest and transaction fees. So they're on the debit side, so those must go onto our cash payments journal, because I suggest this is interest expense since it is on the debit side. And then these are transaction fees, as you know. So it's 650 and 450. So this is 650, then we have 450. Right. Now let's look at more transactions and see if we are going to have any more transactions affecting the CPJ or either the CRJ. Okay, so the Roman figure 4 says the direct deposit by KP Botha was for monthly rent. Okay, so monthly rent, we received a deposit of 11,000 from this person, and it didn't appear on our CRJ, so we're just going to record that on the CRJ. So that's 11,000. We have received the money. All right, we're done with that information so far. Remember, we're doing this step by step simultaneously. Now D says entries in the cash journals for July 2024 that do not agree with the June bank statement. Okay, so this is either it's because some of these transactions appear on the bank statement, some of these transactions do not appear, some were even cut because we receive our bank statement on the 25th, so we need to account for all other transactions after the 25th. Okay, so information D, we have a deposit on 28 July 2024 of 27,900, right? So this is appearing on our cash journals but not on our bank reconciliation statement. So this is an outstanding. Okay, so outstanding deposit. All right, so we have an outstanding deposit of 27,900. Remember, debit and credit are very, very important here. So here we're going to have our 27,900. Remember, here we're doing a bank reconciliation statement. We're going to have our credit increase and this as a minus. Now our bank account needs to increase. Let me just say our balance as the bank statement needs to increase. So we're looking at the credit side. Okay, and then outstanding deposit, we are done. And then now we're going to look at the EFT 205 and EFT 206. So those are outstanding EFTs. We're going to quickly plot that in. So we have outstanding EF, that's E, oopsie. So that's E. Oh. Okay, that's an EFT 205 and 206. Okay, now what we're going to look at, we know it's supposed to go onto our debit side, it's a minus. So EFT 205 is with 5,100, so that's 5,100, and then the other is 7,200. Okay, then now we are done with information D. Then information E says a debtor made an EFT payment of 7,000 on the 30th of July 2024 in settlement of his account of 7,700. Now no entry was made in the books. Now can you see that the information is a bit scrambled? Because if you had thought that on this side we were only dealing with the journals, you would have been wrong, because now this account or this adjustment affects it then affects our CRJ. Okay, so that's also what we need to look at. That is why I'm saying it is much better, again I say it is much better to do these simultaneously so you can be able to work efficiently and see how they actually link. Okay, so a debtor now made an EFT payment of 7,000. Right, we know 7,000 was received right on the 30th of July also. Now this affects both the BRS and the CRJ because we received it on the 30th of July, so it wouldn't be on the bank statement. Okay, it wouldn't be on the bank statement because we only received the bank statement up until the 25th. So the bank statement only shows transactions until the 25th of July. So we're going to take the 7,000, add it onto our CRJ, and then we are also going to add the 7,000 on our credit side. And then now this was payment from data. Okay, so that's our payment from the data. Then now I think since we're done with information, we can calculate the amounts, but just before that I want to check if we didn't leave anything out. Okay, so here we had a unfavorable balance on the bank account. So this is what we had on our bank account at the end of June, which is necessarily on the 1st of July. So when we opened our account, as they might have been correct, that's 20,400 what we had in our bank. It's unfavorable, it's a minus. This is very important, unfavorable balance. Okay, and then we're going to quickly sum up these. So we are going to have the 108 plus 900 plus 11,000 plus 7,000, and then that gives 126,900. And then we're going to quickly sum up the 36,800 plus 12,400 plus 3.6k plus 650 plus 450. So make sure when you're pressing you're getting the correct numbers. Okay, so that's 53,900. Now let's quickly calculate the bank account balance in the general ledger on the 31st of July 2024, and we can just simply get our easy 4 marks. So we know we had an unfavorable balance of 20,400 when we began. Then our total receipts here is 126,900. Then we would then have a minus of 53,900. Okay, so let's quickly sum that up. Negative 2,400 plus 126,900 minus 53,900. That gives 52,600. Okay, so now that we have done all of that, we can move to our bank recon and sum it up also. So here we could maybe have the balance as per bank account. Okay, and then at the end we could have balance as per bank statement. Okay, now the balance is our bank account. We just calculated it as 52,600, and we know that it is a positive. Okay, so since it's a positive, it goes on to our debit side. Okay, so it goes on to our debit side, 52,600. Do not be confused by this minus here on the debit balance, right? So this 52,600, we take it as it is from the balance as our bank account, because we know that this is a debit balance, right? It's a positive amount, so we also plot it in on the debit side here. So that's also something you need to note. And then we can quickly determine the balance as per the bank statement, because we were not given that balance here on the 31st of July 2024. So it's a balancing figure for us. So let's quickly calculate our debit side first and see what that totals to quickly, and then that gives us 68,900. And then this side, of course, it's smaller, so we can take 68,900 minus 27,900 minus the 7,000 again, and then that gives a balance of 34,000. So that's 34,000. Okay, let's just make sure when we add those numbers, it actually gives us the same balance. Okay, that's 7,000, and then that's 68,900. Right, now that we have done that, we're going to explain the problem relating to deposits. We need to quote evidence of what happened, right? So the first thing that we know when we are quoting rather evidence, we need to state what actually happened. So here there has been a theft, or we can just use shorthand, theft of 12,400 by the cashier. Let's just say the cashier. Was it the cashier? Let's just ensure. So it was okay, so it was the bookkeeper, not the cashier, and it was actually 12,400. Okay, so it was the bookkeeper. Okay, so the bookkeeper took 12,400 and was nowhere to be found, right? So now what we know from this is that the problem for the problem is just theft, and now deposits are not necessarily being done on time. Okay, so what happened here, let's go to the scenario. We know that after this investigation, the deposit of 12,400 dated 29 June 2024 was never deposited in the bank. Okay, so we know that this bookkeeper was supposed to deposit the money into the bank account, and they just suddenly stole this amount. Okay, so now we can see that there was theft of 12,400 by the bookkeeper, and there were late deposits. Okay, and then now we need to explain two strategies to prevent this in future. Okay, so what you can do, one of the simplest of things is segregation of duties. So let's just say employees responsible for recording cash, or recording, okay, let's just say recording, should not be responsible for deposits. Okay, so this is basically segregation of duties. Okay, this is segregation of duties. So when you are responding, don't just say segregation of duties. Explain how you want those duties to be segregated, right? So now I know this is a bit of a low amount of money, but in future it could be a huge sum of money. So we could maybe outsource security services to transport cash, so the cash in transit services. Okay, that's also a control you could make. And what something someone could also encourage is maybe have two employees, one whereby is accompanying the other, which is feasible for maybe small businesses. And also you could maybe request or get SMS notifications from the bank whenever you are getting a deposit or you're getting any transaction from the bank, as that is what everyone is doing in these days. So that's what you need to actually think about whenever you are talking about these controls, right? So that is bank reconciliations for paper 2 September 2024 from the Mpumalanga province. I really hope that was useful. Thank you so much for watching. Do not forget to subscribe, like, drop a comment on any accounting videos or any accounting topics that you might need help with. Don't forget to share with friends and family. I'll definitely see you in the next video. Cheers.